Imagine sneaking out at 12:30 in the morning to hang out with your friends. You think you're going for a late night drive. You never would have imagined that they've already decided you're not coming home. Trigger warning. Viewers' discretion is advised. Hello, welcome back to Katie Knows Crime. Today we are going to be going over the case of Skylar Neese. Before we get into what happened, let's talk about Skylar. She was 16 years old from Star City, West Virginia. She was an only child, being described by most as funny, sarcastic, and loyal. She loved many things, including reading, music, and social media. Skylar was very close to her parents, David and Mary Neese. She had worked at Wendy's and was attending University High School. Her and Shelia Eddy had been friends since elementary school, which is important because the crime was not random, it was personal. Skylar, Shelia, and Rachel Schoaf were inseparable for years. Sleepovers, road trips, constant texting, and photos of them were everywhere. But by 2012, something had shifted. There started to be fights, jealousy, and tension within their friend group. Skylar had even tweeted many vague posts about feeling left out and losing friends. This is where it gets a little uncomfortable. Teenage friendships can be dramatic, but this wasn't normal drama. It was something much darker. On July 6th, 2012, at 12:30 a.m., surveillance footage shows her leaving very calmly. Skylar had snuck out of her bedroom window and had got into Sheila's car. Skylar had thought that they were just driving around, but instead the girls drive across state lines into Pennsylvania. They had parked in a secluded wooded area and told Skylar that they were going to smoke. All three had walked into the woods. Then, according to later confessions, Shelia and Rachel had counted to 3. Then they began to stab her. She had over 50 stab wounds. She tried to run, to fight, and even begged them to stop. This is the part that always gets me. It wasn't just rage in the moment, it was premeditated. They brought knives and they had planned it. They then left her body in the woods, drove home, washed off, and went to sleep. The next day, they acted completely normal. When morning came, Skylar's parents had noticed she was gone and her bedroom window was wide open. They called Shelia and asked if she had seen Skylar, but she told them that she hadn't seen her. The police had initially assumed that Skylar ran away because that's very common within teens. But Dave and Mary had insisted that that wasn't like her, and they were right. This case had become even more disturbing because of social media. After Skylar had disappeared, Shelia tweeted, "Rest easy, Skylar. You'll always be my best friend." And this part sends chills down my spine. She had also tweeted, "We really did go on 3." This was later interpreted as referencing the countdown to the attack. Months later, Rachel had begun to struggle mentally. She had become very paranoid, withdrawn, and anxious. Finally, she had confessed to her pastor, then later to the police. She had then led authorities to Skylar's body in January 2013. About 6 months after they had initially killed her. She had stated that the reason they killed her was simply because they didn't like her anymore. That's it. There was no big secret, no dramatic betrayal. They were just tired of her. And honestly, that's one of the scariest motives I've ever heard in a case. Rachel pleads guilty during the hearing and was then sentenced to second-degree murder for 30 years and was eligible for parole after 10. Shelia had pleaded guilty to first-degree murder, being sentenced to life with mercy, and was eligible for parole after 15 years. Skylar Neese wasn't just a headline or a teen stabbed by her friends. She was loved, a daughter, and deserved much better than betrayal in the dark. Let me know what you think about the case of Skylar Neese. R.I.P. Skylar. I will see you all in my next video. Leave down below in the comments if you want me to cover another case.